This week on Grow, President Trump's #1 man for agriculture visits Nebraska. We'll have a wrap-up as he visits Senator Deb Fischer's Sandhills Ranch. Plus, Governor Ricketts stands with Mexican grain buyers in support of NAFTA. We'll have the details there. And we start a new series following a field through the growing season. And it's high school graduation season. We honor some FFA All-Stars this week on Grow. He's President Trump's #1 man for agriculture. Now Sonny Perdue visits Nebraska to Senator Deb Fischer's ranch. Here's more.
And the USDA as well as the state directors move expediently.
Wasting little time, Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue gets his boots on the ground of a Nebraska ranch. Listening to concerns of cattlemen in the top cow-calf county in all the country.
These folks do a great job. They produce it, and my goal is to sell it. So that's what we're going to do with Undersecretary of Trade.
Meeting in a barn on Senator Deb Fischer's ranch in a snowstorm, Secretary Perdue put cattlemen at ease with his no-nonsense style.
He knows the front end of a cow from the back end, so I think that's very vital. He has that working knowledge by being in ag his entire life.
Cattlemen say trade remains the priority. News beef sales with China will resume after a nearly 15-year ban brings optimism.
And I'm convinced when they get U.S. beef in their pallets, they're going to want more of it.
Concerns linger about President Trump's plans on NAFTA and also the president's budget, which could cut funding for the USDA. Perdue says the reality is we can't pass on the national debt to our grandkids.
I'm a whatever it takes, do more with less kind of person. We want to make USDA the best managed, the most efficient, and the most effective customer-focused agency in the United States government.
Senator Deb Fischer says it's clear what issues need to be prioritized in the coming farm bill, namely crop insurance.
Producers buy insurance. It's like flood insurance, it's like car insurance, it's like health insurance. So we want to make sure that that priority is met and continues to be met.
Perdue has won over these producers who say he's a welcome addition to an administration they've had some differences with, especially the president's tone on trade. Perdue says American producers are the best in the world, and USDA will spread that message.
To demonstrate that we're good stewards of the food safety, of environment, clean water, clean air, and do things in a way that if we could invite all of our consumers out to our farms, they would be proud of the way we operate. Making good on a campaign promise, the president says he will renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement. U.S. Trade Rep Robert Lighthizer has sent a letter to congressional leaders starting 90 days of consultations with lawmakers over how to revamp the pact. Talks with Canada and Mexico can begin after that. Nebraska congressional and farm leaders have pushed to retain the agreement rather than dump it altogether, as President Trump had considered doing previously. Earlier this week, Governor Ricketts stood with farmers in support of NAFTA. Mexican grain buyers say they've already reached out to Brazil, fearing NAFTA talks could be disruptive to buying American corn.
That we keep the good parts of NAFTA and let's not fix what ain't broke.
Corn growers stand with Governor Ricketts and the Mexican customers who buy $287 million worth of Nebraska corn every year.
Mexico is our #1 market for corn. A lot of folks on Capitol Hill don't know that. A lot of people downtown in the administration don't know that.
Buyers like Felipe Besarte import hundreds of millions of bushels a year.
It's reliable and we know the price.
But reliability has been in question under President Trump, who has said he wants to modernize NAFTA. Governor Ricketts says the U.S. must maintain strong ties with Mexico.
Billions of dollars worth of trade that is at risk if you disrupt this relationship with Mexico. And that, when you're looking at the state of Nebraska and nearly 34,000 jobs being dependent upon that, that impacts actual families here in our state.
Grain buyers say they're reassured after meeting with Nebraska farmers.
It was good to know they, such as us, are concerned and looking forward to maintain and strengthen this relationship.
Visits from grain buyers are not unusual, but to be joined by national ag leaders and the governor sends a clear signal, and they hope farmers are listening.
I hope they understand our concerns, and I'm sure they will lobby them to their authorities that take the decisions.
Those who've been in Washington for 30 years say they've never seen an administration like this, as they urge the White House to bring some stability for the American farmer, telling the president it's okay to update trade deals, but don't end them.
But let's make it better. Let's not throw it out.
Overall, Governor Ricketts says not a single industry has come to him pushing for changes to NAFTA. As soon as things dry out, we will near the finish line on planting corn. The most recent crop progress report finds above normal temps and an inch of rain in south central Nebraska and southwest Nebraska. Topsoil and subsoil continue to rate well. When it comes to corn, 78% has been planted. That's right on track. 31% emerged. On the soybean side, 37% planted, right about average. Winter wheat rates mostly fair to good. And in this age of auto steer, some still do things the old-fashioned way. Tyson Schimmer of Grand Island shares this. That's his dad planting sweet corn on his Super C and two-row mounted planter that he and his dad bought brand new. And in the background, Jeff Schimmer in the 12-row coming through the field behind him the modern way. If you've got fun moments like this, we'd love to share them. Send us an email or drop us a note on Facebook. Farm income in Nebraska has been in a free fall. One thing we're trying to do here at NTV is educate folks on exactly what's going on. Here's a key stat from economists in the state. Net income, the amount farmers keep, was just a hair over $4 billion last year. And while $4 billion seems like a lot, consider just a couple of years previous, the total was $7.5 billion. In other words, about half the money just gone, a result of global markets. And it's not just farmers who suffer. 1 in 4 Nebraskans are directly impacted.
You have all these little other little businesses that are around, and when you start looking at it, there's a lot of them, and you realize all those businesses would not, most of them would not be around if it wasn't for production agriculture.
Brandon Honeycutt raises corn and soybeans as part of a family farm near Giltner. He figures there are easily 50 decisions to make just when choosing what crop to plant. And with razor-thin chances of being profitable, everything is being scrutinized. Nebraska farmers are investing about $2.5 billion just to plant that crop this year. Here's a closer look. Back to you. And normally that's the last you see of me on the news as I take off the jacket and loosen the tie. And I'm not giving up my day job, but I am taking on some responsibilities out here on the farm, 160 acres in Hamilton County, putting myself in the shoes of a beginning farmer. Renting 160 acres in Hamilton County, just off the top of your head, what are the things I need to be thinking about here?
Well, usually the biggest thing, especially when it comes to renting, is what are we going to pay for that rent?
So first thing's the rent check, then fertilizer, seed, chemicals. My expected return could already be down to $150 an acre. We haven't talked yet about equipment, tractors, and especially combines that are used really just a handful of days a year. Does every farmer need them? Some are rethinking that philosophy.
Okay, how can we get to almost the Uber for farming? And I think that's really, as we hit that next generation, somebody will figure out that, hey, we can work together to get things done. I don't have to go out and buy a $300,000 tractor, $500,000 combine. The challenge is there because it's a lot of money just to run an average size farm.
And we have to expect the unexpected.
You can see some water standing in the field behind us. At the same time, you know, we've got good moisture. We can't complain about the moisture. It's going to look good going for the rest of the season then.
Got your stocking cap on, we got our jackets on. It does not feel like it was just like 90 degrees like a week ago.
No, this all of a sudden feels like March or the beginning of April all over again.
So with a big investment to make, time is already against us. We had hoped to have this field planted a couple of weeks ago. Certainly as you look around here, you can understand why we're just gonna have to wait. A pivot arm had to be replaced, another delay. But once we plant, we'll be thinking about harvest. And often folks in agriculture romanticize about feeding the world. But the conversation is changing to more business-like discussions.
At the end of the year is what every business is trying to do, is make a profit.
It's not glamorous, though, to say my cost of production was the lowest of anybody around. Everybody says, hey, did you hear how many bushels that guy got?
Exactly, and so that ends up being the challenge of what is it I want to accomplish.
So we might skip some of the add-ons, or in this case, plant a hybrid that pays extra because it's for ethanol. Then we watch and wait, the pivot moving through the field like the hands of a clock, as only time will tell if we'll be successful. You can see that full time-lapse video of that cornfield on our website. Pretty cool stuff there, and we will be checking back throughout this growing season. The end of the legislative session finds many of you frustrated. There were a couple of bills that fell short that attempted to do something about property taxes. In a landslide, you tell us you are disappointed the legislature failed to act. A distant second, some folks want to put tax relief on the ballot for voters to decide. As always, follow us on Twitter to cast your vote. And as Memorial Day approaches, it's grilling season. In this week's poll question, your favorite meat to put on the grill. Do you stick to burgers or steaks? How about chicken or pork? Follow NTV's Grow on Twitter to take part. And a distinguished scientist who helped further the beef industry is retiring. Dr. John Pollock has been director of the U.S. Meat Animal Research Center in Clay County. Dr. Pollock tells NTV he's looking forward to spending more time with grandkids. Cattlemen say Pollock has been a big asset to improving the beef industry. He was at the helm a few years ago when the New York Times questioned animal handling. Multiple government reviews later cleared the center of wrongdoing. Dr. Pollock tells us he plans to continue his work with beef industry leaders, so he'll be busy even in retirement. Up next, we visit with the CEO of the U.S. Grains Council about the state of trade, and later honor some FFA All-Stars.